This morning, one of the major headlines is the president's new announcement on gun control. He's trying to add more background checks for some gun buyers, among other things. Republicans say he's overstepping his authority with unconstitutional executive orders. Florida Senator Marco Rubio has been outspoken about that executive action, and I spoke to Senator Rubio a bit earlier this morning in Iowa. Senator Rubio, welcome back here to America's Newsroom.
Thank you.
What's the problem with the president wants to do on guns?
It undermines the Second Amendment, and it will do nothing to keep people safe. Barack Obama is obsessed with undermining the Second Amendment, an important protection that our Constitution recognizes and defends for us. And he's looking for any way possible to undermine it. He's been doing this forever. And now this executive order is just one more way to make it harder for law-abiding people to buy weapons or to be able to protect their families. He's going to do nothing to prevent violence or crimes. Well, you know, because criminals don't buy guns that way. They buy from the black market.
But even some of the critics of the president on this move, they'll say it's no big deal, that it will have little or no effect. Is that true?
Well, it will burden some people, absolutely. There are individuals who are not, major merchants, but they sell guns and individually in a small-scale way. You're now not only going to burden them with having to undergo the background check, that's one thing. If they get it wrong, if somehow they miss a step along the way, they're facing imprisonment. I mean, this is a very significant executive action that he's taken. It's detrimental. It undermines the Second Amendment. And it's part of a broader narrative, and that is this president is obsessed with undermining the Constitution in general, but the Second Amendment in particular. He is obsessed with undermining it, and it will do nothing. Not this executive order or even the things he stands for related to this issue will do nothing to prevent gun violence and gun crimes in America because criminals don't follow the law.
Let's talk about the Middle East. Iran and Saudi Arabia, they're a tender moment right now. There's a suggestion that Saudi Arabia wants to draw the United States back into the region, and significant concern on behalf of the Iran nuclear deal. It's a wicked brew. What would you, as president, do now?
Well, first of all, you would understand who your allies are and who your enemies are. This president doesn't seem to understand that. It's not that Saudi Arabia is perfect, and we have quarrels with some of the things they do, both internally and some of the other things they do around the world, but they are a military ally of the United States. Iran is an enemy of the United States. Iran is an avowed enemy of the United States that every Friday leads chants of death to America and death to Israel. And you have this White House trying to act like an honest broker. Barack Obama is trying to act like a mediator between two friends. Iran is not a friend of the United States. And so I would make it abundantly clear whose side we're on in this dispute. And the second thing is, I would point out to the world and to our people that what has happened in Iran shows us the kind of regime that they are. They have allowed people to storm an embassy, which violates every rule of diplomatic protocol, every rule of international order. They violate these rules. This is not a government that can be worked with.
Iran tested missiles in the last week. And what did we do?
Well, Iran has been testing ballistic missiles. Well, Iran has been testing ballistic missiles for a long time, and yet we cut this deal under Barack Obama to send billions of dollars to them. And I think what you're referring to is a missile that flew within 1,500 yards of a U.S. Navy vessel in the Persian Gulf a few days ago. They are aggressively testing us. They want to drive us out of the Middle East. And again, it goes back to this flawed foreign policy of this president. He betrays our allies, he cuts deals with our adversaries, and he undermines America's reputation and standing in the world. And that's why I'm running for president. All of that will change on my first day in office.
You were in Iowa. Well, you're in Iowa today. You were in New Hampshire yesterday. I understand the hotels are all booked because candidates are staying there. Kind of, sort of. Did you bump into Bill Clinton in New Hampshire?
No, I did not. I did not. I think we speak before different crowds at this stage.
What do you think he does for her campaign?
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's obviously her spouse, so he has a right to be out there in the campaign. There are people out there that like Bill Clinton. I'm not a big fan of his, and I most certainly don't believe Hillary Clinton should be the next president of the United States. We've had 7 years of disaster in this country under a president that hasn't been interested in fixing America. This is a president that wants to radically transform and change America. We can't afford another 4 years like that, and that's what electing Hillary Clinton as president would mean.
You know, one more point on this. Her team is saying that you supported the same policy she did with regard to Libya and arming the opposition in Syria. Is she right?
Well, she supported leading from behind, which was a phrase that came up as a result of Libya, that we were going to lead from behind. I supported leading from the front. I argued repeatedly at the time that we were not doing enough, that it would prolong the civil war, that the long civil war would lead to radical jihadists taking advantage of that vacuum, and that's exactly what happened. So the whole phrase leading from behind came about as a result of Libya. It was a policy she supported. I was consistently against it. America should not lead from behind. America should always lead from the front, and when I'm president, we will.
I've got more questions here, but we'll save it for another day. Thank you, Senator, for your time today.